Hey everybody, I'm Jody Vance.
And I'm George-Affleck.
And it's time for
If you want to get down on the ground, cocaine, unspun.
Seriously? A cocaine intro?
White House.
Okay.
White House.
Tell me the story.
I mean, White House, apropos title for this story, I suppose. They found cocaine in the White House. It's weird. But the most entertaining part of it is all the theories, of course. It's Hunter Biden, it's Don Jr., it's Biden himself, it's stress
Staffers
staff,
working around the clock.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, and I saw, I'm pretty sure they could probably figure it out pretty quickly, given there's probably unlimited cameras in the White House. They found it in a bathroom, in one of the tour bathrooms. So it's probably some guest who went in there, and it's just a weird story.
They absolutely have cameras in there. That's nuts. That's nuts.
Anyways,
we got a lot to talk about today.
Yes.
That's nuts. So, I mean, where to begin? I've got our list.
Yeah, go ahead.
Avi, I mean,
yeah. Do you want to read the tweets? Do you want to read? Can we read the
Yeah,
tweets?
you know what? I can. Hold on. Let me just grab it real quick.
So this is Avi Barzilai, who goes by East Van Builders, his Twitter handle. And he put out a Twitter thread yesterday. Speaking of threads, we'll talk about that later. That was so telling and so, I think it's one of my more popular tweets. I just like, oh my God, it's dumbfounding, this information. So you just read what he wrote. It's like 5 tweets.
Yeah, I'll give you the Coles notes here. Basically, it starts with: the paperwork needed to do a bathroom renovation in Vancouver will absolutely blow your freaking mind. A thread. And then he copied in everybody in city council and the mayor. And he starts with, number one, you need a survey, a $2,000 survey. Every house renovation and therefore building permit application in Vancouver requires a survey. Every single one. Doesn't matter how small your project is. You could be installing a powder room. Doesn't matter. No survey, no building permit. 2, energy advisor report. That's $1,500. Every project that costs more than $20,000, which most things do, frankly, especially requires an energy report and blower door test. Every single one. Doesn't matter what type of project you're doing. You need an energy report. No energy report, no permit for you. Number 3, hazardous materials report, $750. If you're working on a house that was built before 1990, you will require a report from Hazmat QP, as many materials before that time may contain asbestos. Number 4, an arborist report for $750. Every project needs an arborist report. I've tried arguing that section 7.3 of the protection of trees bylaws doesn't require it. They don't care. You can spend weeks arguing with staff, or you can just pay an arborist $750. Number 5, a schedule from a structural engineer, $750. You could be doing absolutely no structural work, but city staff couldn't tell a structural wall from a partition wall. If you're doing a renovation, just best to submit a letter from an engineer. And then drawings are $2,000. No need for an architect here. For small renovations, a drafter or technologist will do, but you just can't submit plans of the renovated area. You will need the entire floor area, also a site plan and details, all this for a bathroom. And then 7, an owner's undertaking letter and building permit application. That's not a cost. It's not a big deal, just a couple of forms. And then you have to have electrical, plumbing, and HVAC permits. That's $1,000. You need inspections. So for simple bathroom, you need to get plumbing, electrical, framing, possibly insulation inspection, and then exterior wall, and then electrical and plumbing and HVAC on the final inspection. This is all for a bathroom, George. I'm still going. I could keep going. Basically, he said for his bathroom reno, before he even got a permit, didn't even get a permit, 10 grand.
I just did the math. Came out almost 10 grand,
almost
8,000, $9,500, $750. It's insane. And it's just a perfect example of how broken this city is. I don't know if it's any different in other municipalities, But I mean, the arborist thing is clearly the most ridiculous. Whether or not that's something you, in a bathroom renovation, I assume if it's outside the bathroom and you got to move the tree because of the plumbing or something, then you got to get an arborist report. And we have a tree at my house that's dead. It's been dead for a while. We have to get it. It's clearly dead. We have to get an arborist report to remove this tree. That's $750. We got to fill out these forms. We got to do this. Like but I just think that, how do you turn things around with that kind of craziness? And it's not just the costs he's talking about. He's talking about arguing with staff. He's talking about just the process itself. And you can only imagine, he knows what he's doing. If you're somebody trying to go in there and you're just doing it yourself, like it leads to two things. One, obviously costs to do anything in the city, but also just people just start doing it the black, just don't do it. Don't go for the permits, just do it themselves and don't tell anybody, which is not safe. It's madness. It's madness.
And the one thing that I was doing the Mike Smith show today on CKNW, where we were talking this through, I had Peter Meisner come on. Like, thank you to the city councillor who did, come show up in the hot seat and reference. He's like, it's bloated, it's broken, we got to fix it. There's no question. We were handed, a really layer upon layer upon layer of bureaucracy that has grown to what we see today. And my question to him was, is it a renovation, or is it a tear down and a rebuild? No, yes, pun intended. And it was really difficult because when we opened up the phones, and I actually had a caller from Surrey who called in and talked about wanting to renovate a room on his property. I think it was actually a deck. He had a deck, and he also wanted to renovate the suite. And all of the construction people, all the builders that he had come in and to quote on it, as soon as he said he had to, obviously you'd need to get permits, all of them said no. I don't get paid for that. I don't get paid to go get the permit. So you got to get the permits and then call me and then I'll quote. And so maybe we'll be available when all those come through, because it could take years.
I remember this when I did a renovation of my place 10 years ago, and same situation exactly. And so I had to hire an engineering company and paid them, because I wasn't going to do this paperwork. And I certainly, given that I was a city councillor at the time, I didn't want it. It was awkward for me to go through that process. So I had an engineering, which cost $2,000 just to have them fill out the paperwork. To do the paperwork that cost $10,000. It wasn't $10,000.
Nobody can build,
but
nobody can build.
No, and this is for
we can't create a suite in our home to rent out to help with the crisis. It's crazy. It seems crazy to me, and maybe I'm oversimplifying it. I often do, but it seems crazy to me that they're screaming from the rooftops of how we need to build more. We don't have enough in a housing affordability nightmare. Like, it's beyond crisis. And it's getting worse by the day. Yeah. People don't have anywhere to go. But in order to build something, it's so cost prohibitive. Like, even if you want to create space in your home that you can, put up a wall and add a door and have somebody live in that space, so you can add density to your home. If you're an empty nester, it's not even an extra suite, you just want to put in some privacy. You can't do that without a permit. You can't. Nope. We need to streamline this.
Touching an exterior wall, now you're in big trouble.
Right.
And the fact that he says in that thread that he's getting staff to understand what an exterior wall is, or what a supporting wall is in an architectural drawing. I already got in trouble last week from CUPE regarding staffing at City Hall. And so it's not a slam against staff, but I think that the system is failing us. And I don't know what this council or any council can actually do to turn this around. And even senior management there, can they turn this around? It's a matter of, and we've talked about this before, and it was something we passed when I was in council, where it's this sort of nexus stuff, and it still hasn't been implemented in the way that I would have expected, where, okay, you are an approved builder that never, ever has a problem. You always fill out your paperwork properly. You could just submit your paperwork after you've done it. And we just kind of assume, and we'll do spot checks that you will never know when we will show up one of your projects and check over your work. So assume we might show up every time. So that ensures or never. You don't know. That's the whole point of that process. And so you have these competent builders who have a great reputation, who then can get things done fast because they don't have to go.
And you lose your nexus if you get caught doing anything, even the smallest
one strike, you're out. One strike, you're out. And so I don't understand what the holdup with that is. Why can't we trust some of these guys who are competent and have proven themselves? And you just have to have the checks and balances in place and let them just have, here's a package, a digital package, submit, done. I mean, it's madness. It's madness. And I don't know.
It's madness.
You know, and then that's why, you sort of wonder why our city's not clean.
Well, let's go there. Yeah, let's go there. Cause I could talk about this permitting thing forever. Like, instead of having all of these fees going to the arborist and the HVAC and the whatever and the blah, 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 like somebody's making a lot of money off of this, by the way. Those required things are turnkey for businesses that are doing that, right? Because you have to have
Jody, it's called pay as you go. And this is something Vision brought in, right, to reduce taxes, which they never did. They created a bunch of pay-as-you-go systems where everything gets charged for when you want to use it, which it was meant to reduce taxes, but they never reduced taxes. So they double whammy for the taxpayers or the construction worker, whoever. Yeah. So, you know, the pay-as-you-go system in concept, fine. Okay, if it's going to cost me $3,000 or $10,000 to do a bigger renovation, but then you slow down the process because of this. But then I also want to see my
property tax in the meantime.
And up my property tax. No,
everything's going up, and it also costs more, which is just crazy. So let's shift to a municipality that often leads the way on things in a way that feels commonsensical and at the base, pragmatic, at the root of what municipal governance should be. You know, if you're getting into, Brad West said this to me, I talked to Mayor Brad West. Yes, we're talking about the Port Coquitlam mayor, if that's triggering for you, just warning you. There's some people like, why are you talking about him again? Because he's a good leader, because he is finding ways to get stuff done. And to that end, they did the pothole filling blitz a few weeks back. Instead of making it a, ongoing, we're gonna eventually do a program about potholes. They're to fill the potholes. Like, let's just start filling them, and you're gonna be inconvenienced if it's right in front of your house. But look, as soon as it's finished, you won't have a pothole anymore. So they did a blitz where they just went around and filled all the potholes. And so that got him to thinking about doing this quadrant-driven 3-day cleanup of Port Coquitlam. And the activation, what is so refreshing, and we talked about the beautification of Vancouver that had the great logo, and somebody had designed it. The communications people did a great 40.
And then you tried to go get you to find
47 communications people did a really good job in communicating it, other than there was really no event. Because I was like, where do I go? Where do I pick up the stuff to clean up my neighborhood? And they're like,
you were assuming it was going to be just what Brad West is doing in Poco. And, and it's a brilliant, I mean, obviously Port Coquitlam's a lot smaller than Vancouver.
A lot smaller.
But if you were to do a marketing effort with those 47 communication staff and say, guess what? On whatever date, on these 3 days, everybody get together, all staff, all 10,000 staff from Park Board and City Hall, let's all show up, or whatever the process is, and quadrants, and everybody just goes out there and cleans up. I was involved when I was in office in South Vancouver in neighborhood cleanups and stuff. It was amazing how much garbage we pick up. And I went out with my boys, and we had sticks, things to pick. And they were having a great old time. Pierce found this giant, he tried to find the biggest things to see if he could pick it up with these, those hook
grabbers
things, and those grabbers. Yeah. And we came back with giant bags of garbage, and we only went 1 block from the actual event. And so if you were to do that once a year I would jump in on board with that in Yaletown.
Totally. And I would say take it one step further, George. Make it an event where there's a payoff. Make it a scavenger hunt. Make it a thing where if you bring X amount of garbage, you weigh it at the end and you get a thing. Make it like a salmon derby, except for the garbage is, the more garbage you collect, the better chances you get of winning a 1-year pass to every city outlet, or you get whatever it is, something.
It's like spring cleaning is we all do it in our homes.
Yeah.
It's a great satisfying, unless you're not a clean person, but generally in the spring, we have this personally, we generally all go and do this massive deep clean in our homes. It's kind of something you do.
The sun shines in and you're like, the sun shines in, you're like, oh damn, it's dirty in here.
Yeah. Those windows, I can't even see.
Not dark anymore. Yeah.
Anyways.
The other part of that, though, is the graffiti piece. We talked about how when you have civic pride around, the street sweepers out, they're cleaning the sidewalks, they're clearing out the storm drains, they're getting rid of the graffiti. They're going to make it look and smell better in the city. Like when I don't know about you, but you live in Yaletown, I live in Kitsilano, but there are parts of this city where it is unbelievably stinky. Like urine and human feces and dog poo and just garbage and rotting things. And like where we have to get better at this. And granted, during the pandemic, I didn't touch people's garbage. I used to walk out of Pacific Spirit Park carrying people's cups, because I don't know the people that walk into the park and decide I'm going to just leave this right here in the middle of this park because there's no garbage here. I'm like, I don't know who does that. I don't like them. I will say I'm very angry at people who litter. I don't like it.
Yes.
But back in the day, I would gather it up and I would go out of my way and be inconvenienced, whatever, first world problems. And I'd carry that crap to the garbage can. But in the pandemic, I stopped doing that. I'm not picking up other people's stuff because I don't know. I don't know what's on that, right? We all became a little bit germaphobe, and that kind of has stuck. Like there was a time I would always pick up what was on the street, and now I won't. I'm not picking up your mask that you dropped.
No, that's gross. But how did you drop that mask? Fall off your face? Yeah, when we were kids, I'm a bit older than you, but when I was a kid, I remember in grade 4, it seemed like a big deal. Like the environment when I was a kid wasn't global warming, it was cleaning up the environment around you. And you draw posters about garbage and how to clean up. And it became a really important part of schooling to understand how important it was to keep your area clean, your city clean, your neighborhood clean. And I think some schools still kind of do this, but
not enough.
It doesn't seem like they talk about cleanliness more than they talk more about the environment. They don't talk about cleanliness. It seems like it's that's not like that's not cool, man.
I was driving down the road. I was going to the interior, so I was on the highway. I was going through the Fraser Valley, and the car in front of me, no word of a lie, these people threw an entire bag of McDonald's trash out their window while driving down the highway. I can't even tell you the rage that I felt in my soul. I wanted to stalk them and report them to police. I was so mortified. Who would do that? And it was a family. It was like a group of people. It wasn't just a couple of dumb teenagers, because they would probably get the assumption. It wasn't. It was grown-ass adults who just were like, bleh.
I remember a scene from Mad Men. I don't know if you watched Mad Men, but there was a scene in it where the family were having a picnic. And this is a show that was based in the 50s and early 60s. And they have this picnic in this park, and then they get up and they just throw all their stuff on the ground and walk away. And it was sort of a statement on how times have changed. You know, you would never do that now, but people do. It seems crazy. Leave their cups in parks, maybe micro versions of that. But it was like very sort of like, yeah, that's, we don't have to worry, but somebody else is going to take care of that.
Someone will clean this.
They don't.
No,
who?
They don't. And then on the flip side of that, George, apparently I'm not allowed to wash my car.
I saw your Twitter.
What the ever loving hell is happening? What is happening? Oh, the things that you rinse off your car, they'll damage the environment. Really?
And so describe to me what's happening here. You are cleaning your car.
I washed my car. Dawn dish soap, water, bucket, sponge, hose with a grabber. It's not a hose sitting there running water down the street.
On the sidewalk into the city drain system, into the gray water.
And my residence only in the gray water. The same place the Dawn that goes down my dish, my sink. Goes to the same place.
But
gray water.
Yeah, I wonder. Yeah, it depends on the neighborhood, but yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Or in the sewer.
Yeah.
Right. The same sewer that goes running down to the end of my street and causes E. coli out at the beaches.
When overflowed. Yeah. I think they come together. Yeah. So anyways, yes. But it's
those two drains, right?
Storm from drains. Your car is not is like the.
Okay, let me back up.
Yes.
My car is very dirty. I have numerous dogs and I walk them off leash year round every single day. So I have the crazy dog lady's car. I've got the liner in the car and whatever, but I mean, you should see Linda Steele getting into my car on Thursdays on the way down to the thing, but she doesn't drive, so she doesn't get to complain. It doesn't stink and it's not filthy.
No
it's just
wet dog smell?
I'm pretty good at that. Okay. I'm pretty good at that, but it's got paw prints and nose prints everywhere. And it's a dog car. So I've been meaning to wash my car for months and I've just not had a chance. I just have not. And when I thought I would, then it's raining out. I'm like, meh. And so day before yesterday, I was super tired at the end of my day. And I thought, I'm falling asleep sitting up here, and that's not good. I need to do something. I'm going to go wash my car. And I did it. It only took me 20 minutes because I'm not freakish about it. I just wash it. And then I wiped out the interior and did a little vacuum in there with my little handheld Dyson thingy. And I'm like, oh, done. That was great. Tweeted it out. Never tweet what you're doing because people are coming for you. It doesn't matter what you do.
Yeah.
I tweeted out, oh my God, I meant to wash my car. Linda Steele, and I believe, #believe, like Ted Lasso, like it actually happened. And then I'm like, that's illegal. I'm like, what do you mean that's illegal? You're not allowed to wash your car on city streets. I'm like, since when? And apparently it is a bylaw in Vancouver that you are not allowed to wash your car on a city street. It's up to $100 fine if you wash. And then I dug a little deeper and people started responding. I'm like, listen, this is crazy. This is crazy. But and even if you own a home and it's in your driveway or even in your garage, also not allowed to wash your car. I was like, okay, that's nuts. Like, this is an overreach by municipal governments, or somebody sat around a table and thought, you know what, we'll just roll this all into one. Because what they don't want you working on your car like a mechanic on a city street, because you might let the antifreeze out or you might let the oil out. You don't know what you're doing, and it might be whatever. But that was what I've been able to dig into, is that was the impetus. And it went all the way to, you're not allowed to have your kids wash your car in front of your house. Give me a goddamn break.
So you put in your driveway, the water flow, if you have a driveway, which in Kits, nobody has driveways, and most areas in the city are getting away from the driveway. And if, you know, you're in an alley, so there's no, I mean, it's ridiculous. And so where, I mean, so you're supposed to take your car to the car cleaning places, that
car wash,
and that water goes where?
Yeah. The reasoning that I was offered on the Twitter was that they have water recycling processes that at these car wash places that charge between $30 and $100 to wash your car. Or you can drive through one of the gas stations and go through like Chemical Central and still have a dirty car on the other side. It's insane to me. Anyways, I lost I know it'll shock you, but I lost myself on the Twitter.
It's full circle on the conversation about bureaucracy and silliness, and why are we, like, come on, common sense. You know, it's like, seriously, you're washing your car in the street. How much of a problem could that possibly be? And really, even if as a kid, I remember, you know, we'd be always fixing our cars on the street. We'd pull up to our friends' houses, and we all had our cars, and we all be, some of us better than others, not my skill set, but, you know, we'd be sitting around and some guy would have his cool car and I had my junky, you know,
take those spark
Delta
plugs
88.
out.
Yeah, doing whatever and
put them back in.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, I did that
Job
too.
Done.
Yeah,
so
I was a go-kart rat. So
yeah, so that's the stuff you do when you're a kid, for sure. And
washing cars. How about just up the street at the high school? They just had a huge car wash as a fundraiser. They did it in front of the school, in the driveway at the school. You know what? I'm willing. $100. I'm willing to take the hit for the 3 times a year. I'm going to enjoy turning on some music, going out front, cleaning my car, getting some exercise, meeting my neighbors. We're not allowed to do anything in front of our homes anymore. This is stupid. It's stupid.
Film it live. It's like our issue with wine in parks. Bring it on. I'm going to have my glass of wine.
I'm doing it anyway.
Film it if it ever comes to the fact that they're going to take my wine away and fine me then $100 for, like, because I didn't sit in the right corner of a park in the city. It's, you know, ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. I want to go to ports.
We rant because we love.
Can we go to the port strike? Because that really should have been our top story. But so what do you see happening here? People screaming in industry saying we need legislation that is back to work for the essential service that is the port. Of course, we have people in the union who are like, no, this is our right to strike. It's a right that we withdraw our services. That's what unions are all about. So what's your take on what we're seeing here at $800 million a day?
Well, yeah, it's and of course the big issue is this automation, which of course they're going to have to embrace. But they've seen numbers down in the States. I think it's San Fran, it was California,
LA was
600 jobs lost because of it.
At
so
LA,
you know, obviously this is a problem, and there needs to be a process to move towards automation. You can't deny technology, and you know, but so that's a negotiation that they have to do. And that's what this is all about, right? We don't want it to get to a strike. And obviously we have the biggest port in North America here. And it's, you know, it's a pretty important part of our economy.
Who we are.
And our Canadian economy. And we had a brief strike a few years ago, and it wasn't very long, but it was a significant amount of money that we were losing every day. And so this can't, I hope it doesn't come to this, but it looks like we're heading that way, and we'll see how many days it lasts. But it really screws up a lot of things, not only in Canada, but US relies on our ports in a big way too. Certainly coal, a lot of coal comes through our ports and then goes down to the States. Sulfur, lumber,
grain,
all that stuff, and then
crude.
all the knickknacks from my dollar store. What am I going to do?
Oh my God, where are you going to get your knickknacks from, George? Where you can get your knickknacks? And the other thing that came up too was, frankly, our Canadian reputation with regard to trade and port reliability, because it's not just now this strike, but we've had the atmospheric rivers that shut down our systems, our highway systems. We have had the trucker convoy that shut down 2 major border crossings that disrupted the supply chain in a very meaningful way, on top of already stretched supply chain issues caused by war in Ukraine or COVID-19 restrictions. Like, there's a lot that piles up. And I was interviewing the Canadian Freight Management president, and he was talking about how when people began to see this strike coming down the pipe, that they started to make alternate plans. It's not like suddenly everybody was like, oh my God, what are we going to do? They're like, no, we're going SeaTac, or we're going through blah, 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 or we're just going to reroute it elsewhere. And it's the goods that you can't get out of Canada that are a big piece of this as well. So
let's hope it ends in a good way and we can get through it.
Yeah.
So yeah. Hey, by the way, as we wrap up, you know, George_Affleck, but Threads, Facebook's I'm George-Affleck in Threads.
You're just George-Affleck?
George-Affleck. This is Facebook Meta's new
I don't know you anymore.
If
you're not underscore.
I know. I'm tempted to just switch my name to George_Affleck, but
you should own it just in case.
I saw you've already put a thread in there. I saw you've been already put whatever you call it, a thread. I mean,
a thread
there's
on
a lawsuit.
Threads.
Twitter's already announced they're suing for steal all the employees that he fired are now working there.
Great.
Taking all the intellectual property, which is illegal. So we'll see what happens there. And plus, I'm surprised by the name Threads, because of course that's what, as we talked about in the beginning of the show, Twitter Threads. I'm surprised there's not a copyright infringement there for Twitter. So we'll see if that goes anywhere. But I don't know. I'm not a big Instagram person, and so but now it's connected to Instagram, and so I just too many platforms for me. It's too much.
Well, we were starting to line up behind, I've forgotten most of them, Blue Sky, and what's the other one? Truth Social, of course. Truth Social never got in there. Mastodon was the one that I tried really hard to try and figure out.
So complicated.
But Mark Zuckerberg, I think he can afford an Elon Musk lawsuit, because Mark Zuckerberg's behind this Instagram / it's a monopoly for Zuckerberg. So it's kind of like bad and worse. But Elon Musk has just turned Twitter into such a cesspool that over the weekend, when I was unable to refresh my feed, you don't agree?
No.
When you couldn't refresh your feed, when he was going to just like, you either pay for it or you don't get to see things. I'm like, oh, okay, so I don't.
So yeah, I love paying, because now I can do like 500-word tweets.
Great. So for those of us who don't pay, we don't see your tweets. So you're talking to a very specific audience, because we can no longer access it. So that's why I like the freedom.
Yeah. But that's meant to clean things up.
He said he was going to do that as an ongoing, as to trying. I'm just never paying for Twitter. I'm never paying for Twitter. I'm just never going to do it. And that's okay, because it's not all about me. I'm also not leaving Twitter because I don't have to. But I find myself, with every disruption, I use it less. And with every new opportunity to go elsewhere, I use it less. And maybe that's a good thing for me and for people who hate me on Twitter.
I find it's interesting looking at our younger crowd. Yeah. Your kid, my kids.
Oh yeah.
They're really not on social media the way
Snapchat.
They were. Yeah. And then, well, they're not even that. They don't act. It's actually a good thing. It's a good, they're not like, I see less and less of this vanity social stuff from the
Same.
from the kids these days.
The
At least there's
children.
that generation, the ones who are 20, say 2 or 3 and younger. There's like this generation that are our kids' range that seem to be less interested in all this stuff. And they see it as a tool potentially for work or whatever, but not their personal life. Meh. Like I'm always like, guys, why don't you? My son's traveling right now. I say, why aren't you posting? Meh. And
I saw him post the Farhaven sticker that he put up.
Yes, I know. He's out there in Europe vandalizing it. Well done,
Vandalizing
son.
places. Yeah.
I'm sure it's photoshopped. It's not real.
Oh, sure. And then our 15-year-olds, or my almost 16-year-old, is like self-regulating now. It's like, what, not even a week into summer, or we just had a week into smer vacation from school. And he's like, yeah, I don't think I want to stay in my room all day ever again. And I'm like, really? Okay, good. And he's like, yeah, I kind of wish there was no such thing as phones other than, you know, to stay in touch with my friends. I'm like, oh, like maybe attach it to the wall with a long cord and you can only use it when you're,
get on your 3-speed with your banana seat and your sissy bar and go for a ride.
Sissy bar. Let's go. Metallic, sparkly banana seats with long frilly
purple
things.
bike. This is my bike. 3 gears.
Yeah. Totally. Right, the gears like this. Oh yeah, dude. Yeah. We had the same bike. Was yours orange? Mine was orange with a black banana seat. You had purple. George, you're way too cool for me. We gotta go. You can underscore or not at George underscore. He pays for Twitter. You should read his 500-word tweets. You can get mad at me on Twitter at Jody Vance, Jody with a Y, at Jody Vance on Twitter. That's UnSpun, unspunpodcast.com. Like and subscribe.